Hello everyone, welcome to Football Daddy, where you watch my hair grow every week.
Enough of awkward talks.
And today we have, as usual, our good friend Ankit Agarwal. Today we'll be discussing Game Week 7. Last week we saw Chelsea versus Manchester United. Well, the score wasn't that flashy, 0-0, it was a draw. Pretty boring match. Ankit, what do you think? Did you like how Manchester United performed?
I watched the match between Manchester United and Chelsea. We had high expectations. You expected 3-1 defeat for United. I was expecting a 2-2 draw. And it turned out to be a bore fest. Honestly, it was so boring. Both United and Chelsea, they basically parked the bus and they were playing for the draw. I have my caveats against United, of course, because they are my home team and I love them. But also, if you are Lampard, you have spent more than £200 million on transfer budget and you're going to Old Trafford and parking the bus. Dude, you need to get under some criticism. So Ole deserves all his criticism, but I think Lampard also deserves his fair share of criticism. Both played extremely bad. So yeah, that's my opinion. What do you think, Sakshan?
Yeah, I agree. I think every one of us was expecting at least a few goals given the lineups,
Correct.
especially from Chelsea because they have such a good attacking side. But yep, Lampard has failed to impress us again. So moving on to the next match, we had Arsenal versus Leicester. Again, it was one of the most boring matches of the game week. It was almost a draw, but at the end, Vardy scored a goal. He came on as a sub, shattered our hopes. Now we are at the 11th position, if I'm not wrong.
I think Leicester did. Leicester pretty much nailed their tactics. They came in for a draw at best. They got a victory, which was bonus, and they parked the bus and they did a perfect smash and grab. They were letting Arsenal have the most of the possession, but Arsenal could not do anything with the ball. As we also discussed, they were passing sideways and not basically creating anything. Saka, I think, was the best player on pitch for Arsenal, and both Lacazette and Aubameyang seemed lost. Even Granit Xhaka and Mustafi, everyone, I think they were terrible all throughout the game. Kudos to Leicester. They smashed and grabbed. They got 3 points. So hats off to them. I think if you're talking about boring matches, this pretty much the entire week was pretty boring. You saw I think Wolves versus Newcastle match, again a very boring match. They drew 1-1. Probably Wolves should have won, but Newcastle got this one goal at the end and drew 1-1. Then we had West Bromwich versus Brighton. Again, a very boring game, drew 1-1. So yeah, pretty boring game week, to be honest. Nothing very spectacularly awesome, except the Everton versus Southampton game. Southampton completely blew Everton out of the park. 3-0 to Southampton. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, no one was expecting that, especially no goals from Everton. That was a big shock. Southampton was probably the underdog, and Everton was a clear favorite. But to be honest, I think Everton needs some time to settle down. They have a really new squad, new players. But I think this game week, especially how the past few game weeks had gone, was a bit disappointing. This kind of reflects in our FPL scores. I think none of us scored that high. We'll discuss that as we get into it. But right now, let's move on to the next topic: United versus Arsenal, game week 7. So, Ankit, what do you think? How is United gonna perform?
I expect another Bofest, to be very honest. Going into the game, I think Arsenal would be under much more pressure than United, given that Arsenal has lost the last two matches against City and Leicester. So they would be expected to win because I do not know how long will the Arsenal fans be patient with Arteta. What do you
lost
think?
it.
Do you
We've already
expect a
lost it.
flashy
Don't
game?
worry. Sack Arteta. We don't want him anymore. Bring in someone else.
We are slowly turning into FTV.
Arsenal, ever since they lost 1-0 against City, our midfield has been looking lost. I was expecting that when Partey comes on, we'll see a different form from the midfielders, but nothing has changed really. Partey did what he does best. He was going for those long balls. He was defending well, but when we asked from the more creative players like Ceballos and Pepe, they did not step up, and I think that was the missing factor that led to a 1-0 defeat against Leicester. So anyway, here are the stats. Ankit, do you want to explain them? Elaborate them?
This gives me the hard on.
Yeah.
This gives me the hard on.
Take the torch. Go on.
So these stats on your screen are pretty much very common stats. I don't want to touch upon them. You can basically pause the video and look at them. But I have some more interesting stats. I think Sakshan, you will like those stats because it relates to Partey. So I was analyzing the game between Arsenal versus Leicester, and one very interesting thing that I noticed personally was, so Partey plays in the central midfield role. As a central midfielder, the one thing that you expect from any central midfielder is that they will be involved in the game quite a lot. They will have many touches and they will pass the ball.
Yeah.
So when I analyzed the game between Arsenal and Leicester, I saw that Partey had a total of 56 touches on the ball in the entire game. So he played for 80 minutes and he had only 56 touches. Okay. On the other hand, Granit Xhaka had more than 260 touches on the ball. So that was more than 5 times the number of touches of Partey. And even David Luiz and Mustafi had more touches on the ball than Partey. One interesting thing about Granit Xhaka's touches was he had a 89% pass accuracy in the game, but his average yard distance of every pass was only 3.5 yards, which basically means that he was not pushing the ball up higher. He was basically collecting the ball and passing it around his area. So he was playing those short passes. So he was keeping the midfield ticking. Okay, so that is one thing I think Arsenal needs right now, some player in the midfield to keep that midfield ticking. So I think Xhaka is an important player for Arsenal. Right. One more interesting thing that I noted about the Leicester and Arsenal game was Arsenal's PPD, passes per defensive action. So what it basically means is number of passes that the opposition takes inside Arsenal's ball per defensive action. So what defensive action does Arsenal take to stop that ball? So they had a PPD of 11. Okay, so it means that Leicester could only do 11 passes inside Arsenal's box before Arsenal interjected and stopped the ball. Okay, on the other hand, if you look at Man U's PPDA against Chelsea, it was 24. For a team playing two central defensive midfielders as Fred and McTominay, a 24 PPDA is abominable. I mean, you are allowing the opposition to have 24 passes inside your box before you take a defensive action. It's not expected if you're playing with two defensive midfielders. So I think the midfield is going to play a very important role in the United versus Arsenal game. I do expect a 2-1 victory for United because it's a home game and Arsenal have been very poor in their away form, winning only 33% of their matches.
Man U might win this one with a 1-0 victory, like just how Leicester did, if Ole plays his cards right and defends for most of the time. I don't know how, but we somehow failed to make chances even though we have the possession most of the game, and that's really disappointing. That's not how things were when you look at the mid-seasons last season. Things were clicking different, and I'll be sort of happy to see Cavani play centrally as a forward, because he is that threat, and especially that Mustafi is right now playing in the team. So Ankit, the Hotspur did win last game 1-0, and again it was Son who scored.
I think if you're talking about Spurs, first of all, Son, thank you. You saved my FPL team.
Guys, I have to make one thing clear. As an Arsenal fan, I personally never pick Spurs players in my team, and if I had, I would have had Son in my team, and that's plus 24 points, right?
So I honestly think that Spurs do look like a title contenders right now. They have a very solid attack. It's their defense that is a problem, but that is a common story across all the teams in Premier League right now. So they are no exception to it. About their attack, I think Kane and Son are in the form of their lives right now. Even though we are not honestly seeing the best form for Kane, but his partnership with Son has really improved Tottenham as a team. And I think Brighton has a strong defense, but I have lost hopes for Brighton. I was the one person who has constantly pushed for Brighton in the videos that we have been doing, because I saw the games against Crystal Palace and West Bromwich Albion. They were pretty strong for 80 odd minutes, and then just like that, they do one defensive error and they concede a goal. So it has always been happening for the past 2 weeks, and if they cannot keep a clean sheet against Crystal Palace and West Bromwich, the two teams which basically have no attack right now, I don't expect them to keep a clean sheet against Tottenham. 2-0 for Tottenham. What do you think?
I don't see Brighton scoring goals, plus I also see them conceding a few. So yeah, 2-0 for me too. All right.
Makes sense.
So moving on to the next one, Newcastle versus Everton. Well, Newcastle has not been looking as strong as they did last season. They are probably one of the weakest sides in the Premier League right now. Sure, they do have Saint Maximin with them. Guys, if you don't know him, is probably one of the best FPL picks right now. Go for him. Everton did lose the last game, and yes, Everton has been looking shaky. So what do you think about the match?
Newcastle should just really be relegated by now. I mean, that just sums it up. They are a terrible, terrible team. I just don't see how they're playing in the Premier League. Everton, though they had some problems against Southampton, but interesting news, Lucas Digne's red card has been reduced from 3 matches to 1 match. So he'll only be missing the Newcastle game. He will come back against United. So if you have him, please hold on to him. Richarlison will be out. He still has a 3-match ban. My score prediction for this game would be Everton 2, Newcastle 1. They just get 1 goal, but 2-1. What do you think?
Okay. First of all, I think it will be a wise choice from Saint Maximin to sort of look for another team. Everton, I think Ancelotti does not make a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure he has learned his loopholes from the last one. So I don't see again Everton losing this one. I'll go with a 3-0 victory for Everton, just because they might sort of take the steam off given how they lost the last game. So yeah, 3-0 to Everton. So moving on to the next match, Liverpool versus West Ham. Guys, by the way, one update: Fabinho has been declared injured. He won't be playing the next game. And also, if you guys check out our last video, we discussed how Liverpool is sort of shaping up now that Van Dijk isn't playing. Plus, also the addition of Jota can, spice up things in the attack. My prediction would be that Liverpool can win this one 2-0.
Right off the bat, I think Liverpool do look like the favourites to win the game. But West Ham, I don't think it's easy to write off West Ham. They drew 3-3 to Tottenham, a wonderful game of football 2 weeks ago. Then they also drew against Manchester City, 1-1. And Mikel Antonio scored a wonderful goal. I don't think Mikel Antonio will be fit to play in the game though, so I don't see them winning. I will go with a 2-1 or a 3-1 for Liverpool in this game.
One thing I'd like to point out is that Liverpool had to play, Champions League as well. So do you think the fatigue might kick in and West Ham can get an advantage?
On one hand, the fatigue is very true, as you said. Playing 2 games, like 3 games actually, in a matter of 1 week. Okay, it can get a little tiring for the players, but I think these are the players who have experienced playing such situations for the past 3 seasons. Liverpool has been in the Champions League for quite some time now, and these are the same bunch of core players who have been playing for Liverpool. So I think even though they would have some problems, but I think they'll be okay. They'll not have so many problems.
So as the competition grows on the top of the table, we also see teams fighting towards relegation. I mean, not fighting, but trying to stay above water. Teams like Fulham, West Brom, Manchester United, I don't know. These teams have been struggling to, sort of converting those, close matches into victories. So, Ankit, who do you think are the 3 prospects out of the 5 who might get relegated this season?
As you said, I think Fulham, West Bromwich, you've already pretty much mentioned it. Fulham, I think they are suffering from the only reason that they got promoted a bit too early. They should have probably stayed in the championship 1 more season, but no disrespect to them. They came to the Premier League on their merits. But I think staying in the championship for 1 more season could have been helpful. I think as it did for Leeds. Last year would have been a bit too early. This season was like the perfect time for Leeds to come up and show the world what they're capable of, and they're doing it so fantastically well. Same with West Bromwich, I think. You've also mentioned Newcastle. We've discussed how terrible they are as a team. I think 2 more teams would probably be Burnley, one surprise this season for the relegation battle is Sheffield United. Last season, they surprised us by, I think, finishing in the top 10. Sheffield United, I hope they turn around things, but I don't see them turning things around.
Alright, so I think we can move on to the most exciting bit of the video, FPL. So, Ankit, I think Liverpool probably has a few really easy matches in the upcoming games. They should be the go-to FPL pick this time of the year.
I mean, as we can see that Liverpool has pretty easy fixtures coming up. West Ham, Man City, Leicester, Brighton, Wolves, and Fulham thereafter. But I think Liverpool have their own set of problems, and and they also come at very high price. So all the Liverpool assets are very costly. So I would not say go to all the players that Liverpool has, but probably an attacking force is a very good option. I think a Salah is a default option for a lot of FPL players this season. Pick Salah and captain him. I would not touch their defense. I am a little shoddy on their defense right now because even against Sheffield, they conceded one goal through a penalty, a contentious penalty, but they could have also conceded a few more goals from open play because Sheffield did create a few chances. Moving to Arsenal, I think Arsenal also has pretty easy fixtures coming up. They have United, then they have Aston Villa, then Leeds, then Wolves, then Tottenham, then Burnley and Southampton. Saksham, if you have to pick two players from Arsenal, which one would you suggest?
Aubameyang is usually the likeliest to score goals, but I think the surprise pick would be Saka. He has been in really good form, and I think he comes in really cheap. So if you have a position, if you have an empty position, if you want to bring a new player for cheap, go for Saka. He might surprise you. Yes, he does not score goals, but he does have good assists and all. And I don't see Pepe playing this week. Willian might be the favorite to play this week. Moving on to Southampton, I think they have a few very easy games upcoming. So if you have Danny Ings in your team, or if you don't have, please keep him, and I'm sure he'll score a couple of goals.
Regarding Southampton, as we were discussing, they have easy fixtures. They have Aston Villa, Newcastle, Wolves, then United, then Brighton, then Sheffield and Arsenal. Against Everton, they looked pretty good defensively as well. I would like to understand, do you see at least 2 clean sheets from Southampton in the next 4 matches? Like till United, do you see they can keep 2 clean sheets?
Yeah, I think they can pull it off. They are sort of the underdogs in every match. I don't have a lot of hope from Newcastle, so that can be an easy clean sheet for Southampton. And out of Wolves and Aston Villa, they might pull off a sort of magic clean sheet here.
Yeah, if they can have 2 clean sheets, then I think their goalkeeper McCarthy is also a good option, and also their right back Kyle Walker-Peters. I think he's also. So I think James Ward-Prowse, Kyle Walker-Peters, Che Adams, Danny Ings, McCarthy, all these are good options if you have money in the bank. If you want to go big on Southampton, you can pick at least one. I would personally prefer McCarthy. Coming to Leeds United, I think Leeds United also have a pretty easy round of fixtures. They have Leicester, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Everton, Chelsea, West Ham. To be honest, with Leeds, every fixture seems easy right now, the way they are playing. So even if they concede goals, so I would not suggest you to go near their goalkeeper, of course. But I think you can go bet on Costa, or you can go and also pick Harrison. He looked particularly dangerous on the left-hand side last game against Aston Villa. And you can also pick one of their fullbacks, Stuart Dallas and Ayling. Even though Ayling played in the left centre-back role in the game against Villa, but I think he comes good. Quickly talking about Wolves. Wolves have a pretty interesting round of fixture because they play Crystal Palace and Leicester and Southampton. 3 games in which I think they can keep clean sheets in all the 3 games. So I would pick a Sias from Wolves, which I also have right now. But nothing else to talk about Wolves. I think Chelsea also have pretty easy round of fixtures. Actually, do you think so? Like Burnley, Sheffield, Newcastle, then Tottenham, then Leeds and Everton and
Wolves. I think
Chelsea
needed a few easy fixtures for the upcoming games because they have to sort of reshuffle and plan a lot of things. They have been struggling both defensively and offensively. They look a bit lost. So I think this is a good opportunity for Chelsea to bounce back. And I won't be surprised if some of you guys go and pick Werner because he had such a great record last season for scoring goals. So, and this might be the opportunity for him to shine. So, guys, one more interesting fact. If you look at Spurs fixtures, they are probably not the easiest. Sure, you can keep them for first 2 game weeks, but after that, I think it will be wise for you if you just drop them after a couple of games, especially against Manchester City. I think that's it for fixtures. Let's quickly move on to our FPL picks. So, Ankit, do you want to quickly discuss your FPL players?
Quickly discussing my FPL team and also the points that we have for discussion today for FPL. So I have got, of course, Sias, Robertson and Vestergaard in the back. Robertson has been misfiring, so I'm probably thinking of shipping him out pretty soon. If I don't see Liverpool playing good against West Ham, I'll probably think of shipping him out. I'm probably getting a Chilwell. So Rodriguez, I'm not too sure on doubling up with Everton. I'll probably ship one of them out. Talking about Son, Sterling, Grealish, I'm pretty sure that they will keep in my team for the longer term. They basically form the core of my midfield. Coming forward, Bamford, I would not probably keep with him for the remaining of the season. I'm unsure about keeping him for the entire season. He did score a hat trick, but I don't see him repeating those hat tricks in the future right now. Calvert-Lewin and Kane, I'll probably keep them, and I'm not gonna ship them out. I'm unsure about Foden's though from Wolves, so I'll probably have to. Probably in the next game week or probably 2 game weeks, I'll probably have to also kick him out. So before we jump to your team, we have a few points. Liverpool dilemma, Everton assets, hold or sell. So I think we already discussed Liverpool's dilemma with Fabinho out, Virgil van Dijk out. Do you think even right now holding on to a Liverpool defense makes sense? Like I am unsure on holding on to Liverpool defense. What do you think?
I think we should ship out the Liverpool defenders right now. Van Dijk will be out for the next 8 months, right? So I'll say ship them out and look how the game progresses, how they progress. And if they, I mean, Robertson is probably the more interesting prospect. There are better options. You can go for Chilwell, as you mentioned, Chilwell, Cresswell. Go for these players.
Like even Target, Aston Villa's Target, he's also a good pick.
Okay.
If someone is looking for one.
If Liverpool defender, especially Robertson, proves himself to be as solid as they were with Van Dijk, sure, keep one. I won't say pick more than one defender right now, because there are also other defenders which come in quite cheap compared to the Liverpool ones. So Everton actually has a few easy fixtures in the upcoming games. So if you have sort of midfielders and forwards from their team, I will say sure, keep them. They're more likely to score goals.
Okay.
City has a few mixed fixtures upcoming right now. Sterling has been pretty consistent with his goal scoring record this season. So I don't see why anyone should drop him if you have him in the team right now. Plus also we have prospects like De Bruyne and Aguero right now. Aguero has come back from injury. So Ankit, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm pretty unsure on City right now. I would probably like to drop them because the one thing that you expect from City is a lot of goals, but this season they have been below, they have been out of the top 5 even in terms of big chances creation and in terms of shots inside the box. So City have dropped off quite a bit in terms of their attack. So I'm not sure there is some fundamental problem in City which I cannot particularly point out, but I think if they don't perform this week, even I do have Sterling. So if they don't perform this week, I'd probably like to ship Sterling out and probably get a Mane or a Salah in.
Okay, yeah,
That's
it's actually
fine. Okay.
surprising that you don't have either Salah or Mane in your team, because you expect either one of them to score goals.
I have one interesting story. So a lot of people in the community and on a lot of YouTube FPL gurus actually suggested keeping Salah as captain for game week 6. I did not want to. I personally did not want to, and I just went with my gut feeling and I captained Son. I would not have captained Bamford on any day. So I'm like, so with the players that I had, so the options were basically to captain Salah, and if not Salah, Kane. Okay, everyone said not to captain Son. I went with my gut feeling, captain Son, got 22 points out of it. So the basic thing is go with your gut feelings, guys.
Go for football.
Listen
Daddy.
to what we have to say.
No, just follow football, Daddy. That's all. Don't go with
Follow
your
football,
gut
Daddy.
feelings. Just follow football, Daddy. So I was asking, what would be your captain pick this week?
I would probably go with Kane this week,
Okay.
not Son. Kane. Saksham, quickly going through your team.
I mean, I have the defenders from last week. Not much change there. Cresswell and Castine has been solid. Guys, heads up. Leeds. Players like Alioski and Koch, they had a combined total of 15 FPL points last week. So if you have them in the team, you can keep them as defenders. The only reason I have not picked them in the team is because I felt like I have better attacking options. I am one of those hundreds of thousands of FPL players who has probably shipped in Bamford to their team. I already had Calvert-Lewin. On Liverpool side, it's either Mane or Salah scoring goals. I mean, you can never justify why you are picking Firmino instead of them. So yeah, Mane for me. I would have preferred to keep Salah in my team as well, but I picked Bamford instead because his form has been more consistent compared to Salah's. Aubameyang has not been scoring goals, and I'll probably ship him out if he does not perform against United. But I don't know. I think we can do well against United when it comes to counter attack. It's probably Aubameyang who might score. I'm not really satisfied with my midfield right now. I would probably ship out Horiane and Ceballos. They're not very consistent. They have failed to impress me really. It's been 7 games in, but not many FPL returns from them. Jorginho is probably like a surprise pick. One day he gives you 15 points, the next game probably a point or two. So yeah, I mean there's a lot to improve in my FPL team, but let's see how it progresses.
Saksham in the next pick, we have a few players on the screen. So we both are going to say pick or let go. So the first player that we have is Warner. Do you pick or do you let him go?
I think you pick him after this game week. Let's see
Havertz?
how Bamford and Calvert-Lewin performs, and if they don't do that well, I'll probably pick Warner.
So Warner, you say pick. I will also say pick because Chelsea have, as we discussed, easy fixture rounds, so he might come good. What do you think about Havertz?
Havertz, I mean, he might have an assist or two in the upcoming fixtures, but I don't see him scoring goals, and there are better options in the midfield right now, so no, don't go for Havertz.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Havertz has not impressed me till now. Rashford,
Definitely a no-no. He's very, very expensive, and when you have Bamford for 6-7 millions, Calvert-Lewin for 7.7 millions, if I'm not wrong, Rashford is never voice choice. He's not consistent enough, so no, don't go for Rashford. Pick Werner instead. I'm sure he'll convert a few goals.
regarding Rashford, he might be a good differential pick for FPL players once United has easier round of fixtures. But right now, I would say a no-no for Rashford as well. Coming to Aubameyang, what do you think?
It's probably the dry spell of Aubameyang right now. He was a Golden Boot contender last season, and it doesn't look like he's in the goal scoring form right now. But again, it's the entire Arsenal team that has not been scoring. Son has scored more goals than combined Arsenal team as of now. So I think you should drop Aubameyang, and I should remove him as my team captain.
So I think one interesting fact regarding Aubameyang is that since the last time he scored, Harry Kane has had 17 goal plus assists.
Mic drop.
Regarding Aguero, what do you
Mic drop.
think? Pick or let him go?
It's a
Aguero,
very weird time of the season right now to pick costly strikers because Bamford and Calvert-Lewin again are such a good option right now. So go for the cheaper ones and go for Salah, Mane, Sterling, De Bruyne in the midfield and spend big on them rather than on the forwards. Aguero again is a really, really expensive player.
yeah, I think you were right about Aguero. We can give him a go right now. Saksham, about your captain picks, I have already said my captain pick for this week is Harry Kane. What do you think?
I think my captain pick would have been preferably Salah, but since I don't have him, I'll probably pick Mane instead.
Okay. And players that can surprise us?
My surprise pick will probably be Saka from Arsenal. He has been such a good form and probably the only sign of hope in our entire attacking side. So yeah, Saka from me.
It'll probably be João Cancelo.
João
Cancelo, he plays for City. Amazing player. He has started City's game for the last 2 games. Looked very, very attacking. Like for a City fullback, he looked pretty pushing very forward. I really liked him. So yeah, my surprise pick would be João Cancelo.
So I think this is it for this video, guys. If you like our content,
Enough of awkward talks.
subscribe if you like our content so far. Share with your friends and family.
Because your family, of course, likes to watch football videos.